Right. So today we're going to talk about a couple of stuff that they've included into your guys' sessions again, your guys' projects that you're supposed to do in the book, right? One of the many ones that they basically start with is the stretch function, right? We've discussed the stretch function, but just touched on it a bit, right? So I'm just going to show you guys what else you can do with the stretch function. So, right, when you're on your playlist window, this playlist window right here and stuff, if you click on your audio section, that audio clips, to focus on your audio clips, you'll find a function here called stretch, right? By Shift M, you are able to disable and enable it. M for money, right? So Shift M, you enable and disable it, right? Now, what you guys need to notice is, I'm just going to load a quick sound here. Let me just go to here, and where am I now? Where's my sounds now? Just, no, not that. That's for later. That's for later. I just can't find my sounds now. Just hold on. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Okay. So I'm just going to quickly load something here. Right. So now, when the stretch function is enabled, right, what you need to understand, let me just disable it first. I'm going to disable it. If you want to be able to trim your audio, you have to disable the stretch function. You understand? Okay, cool. So if you want to trim your audio clip, right, you have to have your stretch function disabled. If it's enabled and you trim, it's gonna stretch it. You get what I'm saying? You can use this with the tool, paint tool, or the draw tool. You understand? The stretch function. Then its function mainly, I'm just gonna edit, undo all of these. Undo, 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 and undo. Let's have it on reset. And I'm just gonna load that in there again. Right? So now, mainly on the test book, what they stated is that the function of the stretch function, right, is to put things in time, right, in accordance to your, what do you call this, your grid lines, right? But it's got many other functions that I'll kind of state, not many other, but some of the other functions that you can use that are quite cool, you understand? But one of the main reasons that they've stated in the test book, according to them, is that you use it to basically stretch it according to time. For example, we're looking at this clip right here, functioning at 130 tempo, right? Audio clip right here, functioning at 130 tempo beats per minute. You can see that this is not according to grid. You understand? So if I play it with the click track, let me just play it with the click track. No volume. Just hold on. There we go. So I'm going to play with the click track. You can hear it's out of time, right? Okay, cool. Damn it. Just hold on. Drop that clip right there again. It's not according to time. So then what I can do is I'm going to just stretch it until there. Then I'm going to stretch it to about 4 bars until it actually kind of fits into time, the way I would like it to do it. There we go. You understand? That can align it according to the grid. And then when you're listening to it is... Now, my problem with this function, and this is why I'm going to use inverted commas, it helps you align to time, but it's not all aligned to the grid lines, but it's not precise. You understand? So that means it doesn't do the alignment precisely. As you can see, if I zoom in, it's still not, the transient is still not actually sitting on the grid line. You understand what I'm saying? So in that case, you use another function that they've actually used on the test book by, I'm just going to undo everything again, back to where we started. I'm going to put that back in there. I'm going to put that back in there again. Then I'm just going to resize that. I'm going to call Shift M. Shift M. Jeez. Okay. Then just go there. Then what I can do is click on the wave file there, wave format there, and then fit to tempo. And then select the tempo that is estimated for the audio, right? And that will put it into time. So now if I zoom in, it's much more aligned in comparison to the previous one. The only thing I need to do is basically kind of align it according to this then. So if I say transient, I want my transient to start at the beginning. So then I will go here, just make sure that my is on none, bring it quite closer and just shift it to time. And when I play it, is according to the click track. You get what I'm saying? So you can use the stretch function as the beginning. I'll show you as to where this then would apply if you wanted to kind of stretch it according to time. So I'm just going to zoom out. Then I'm going to get a loop that basically has a tempo definition in it according to FL. Right? I'm going to use this loop here. Then I want to change that to cell again. Right? So if I mute this and I come now and use stretch, now I can stretch because this is already on grid. As you can see it, let's just play it with the click track. As you can hear, it's according to grid. Now I can take it and stretch it from 2 bars to 4 bars. Guys get it? Right? So now with that, what it allows me to do, because now this session is already kind of in time in terms of same tempo and everything because of the loop we're using, right? I can stretch it to mainly now either slow it down in terms of the percussive sounds between, you understand? But do understand, when you are stretching an audio file, you are causing some form of degradation on it, right? Either using audio or not. Now, if you double click here, you get an option of time stretching mode, which we'll kind of get and indulge in when we get to the Fruity sampler. But I do want to show you the time stretching mode and how it affects you using your stretch function. So if you're using it under auto, right, there will not be a pitch change. You understand? So it means if I'm stretching this audio right here using stretching mode auto, right, it will not change the pitch. As you can hear it now, pitch has not been changed, right? But if I move it and take it to resample, the pitch will change because I've stretched it. So, right? So if I'm stretching it, that means I'm slowing it down, right? And the pitch will change to something slower. It's a bit deeper. But I'll show you an example kind of much more clearly with something that you guys have heard from previous songs before. But just have an understanding that under resample, right, pitch changes. Under auto, pitch does not change. But because under auto, your pitch doesn't change, that means degradation of the audio itself is going to be much more audible, of which I'll show you now, right? So to show you that example, I'm going to mute my audio track, right? And then I'm going to import an instrumental I did for a client once. Something real quickly, and then show you what they've done, what other people have done before in their songs that you guys might be interested in trying out. So I'm just going to bring this beat in here. Here we are. Cool. Right. Guys, if you've noticed on hip hop production, I've noticed this in a couple of trap songs. I think XX Station, is that what they call him, used to do this. Yeah? So you'll have like the instrumental playing or the song playing at the normal tempo, right? And then close to the end of the song or somewhere in the song, they slow down the song. And you hear this kind of like warping movement of the beat. Brr, brr, brr. Travis Scott, yes, thank you. Travis Scott was the one I also thought, but I couldn't figure out the song. Do you know the song?
Yeah, that one.
What's the name of the song? But we've heard it before. I just want to play the example. Okay, but never mind. You should be able to tell from what I'm going to do now, right? So basically, you're going to have a beat, right? Or instrumental or song that's complete, right? So this is how the original of the song sounds.
Intro.
Let me just remove that.
Intro.
Right? So That's the instrumental from the beginning, right? I'm just going to play it now from the point where I want to stretch it from. So I'm just going to go here. Just find the part that I'm looking for, sorry.
Chorus.
There. Okay. Stop it. So I'm going to trim it all the way to that part that I want there. I'm just going to trim that again a bit more.
So is that your tag?
Yeah?
Is that your tag?
Which part? Nah, it's not. It's not a tag per se. It's what I use to basically help, what do you call this, artist I'm sending an instrumental to be able to identify the producer's approach to the instrumental, but also helps in protecting the beat, so that if someone wants to use it, let's say you send it to a client and they want to use it without actually paying you and stuff, having those tags helps, because it's chorus, verse, chorus, and so on and so on. So you can't use the beat without me giving you a beat without the tags inside, yeah. But it also gives the artist the basic idea of like, okay, this is where I was approaching it. If you've got a different structure, you can go for it yourself, but this is where I was coming from. Yeah, type of thing. Okay, cool. So I'm just going to stretch that there, make that 4 bars. There we go. Just trying to get it to 4 bars. There we go. Okay, fine. So now I've got this section here.
Chorus.
Right. Cool. Now that section, let's say now you imagine it's the beat, right? And then afterwards the beat changes again and then they slow it down. That's what they usually do and stuff. So I'll take that, create a copy, clone it because I want to stretch it on its own. Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. I was looking for that. Usually I get confused because the other part is clone and this one is make unique. All right, cool. So now I can take this part that I have here, use the stretch function, and stretch it by, let's do up to here if I want to.
So is that basically like tempo change on a track?
Let's call it, you can say tempo changing. Yeah, you can say tempo changing, but without actually changing the original tempo. You understand? But I like to use the terminology stretching and compression because it's time stretching and within. Because as soon as you say tempo changing, someone is considering now this tempo value here, right? But when you call time stretching, they expect that you are warping. That's exactly what we're doing. You understand? It's altering. It's called elastic audio, basically. Yeah, and stuff. So now I've slowed it down. Usually then what you'd hear from the hip-hop tracks, it will come from a very fast beat and then goes quiet, and then all of a sudden... Exactly. You understand? All of a sudden in a song. Usually, I've always wondered how the fuck do they do this, right? Basically, this is the function you guys can use. A time stretch function, right? Whereabout then, depending on if you want the vocals to be included or not, you can basically now apply it according to, for example, let's say, if I want the vocals to be included, I can do it after I'm done mixing. So I'll produce the song fully, right? Mix it first, né? Once it's mixed, export the mixed version, né? Then bring it in, cut the section that I want, right? And then include it in and then go master. You understand? But if you want it without the vocals, then finish the instrumental, right? Then export it, take it back, put it in again, cut it, trim it to where you want, include it in the instrumental, and then present the instrumental to your client so that he can record vocals to the slow part also. You understand what I'm saying? And that's the approach. Any questions? Cool. Now, what I wanted you guys to notice again is that the pitch. Exactly, right? Meaning that we are under resample, right? Now, if I was under auto, where the pitch does not change, because I've stretched it so much, you're going to start hearing some form of like degradation on the thingamajig, on the vocal. I mean, on the instrumental. I'm just waiting for it to buffer. There. Circle of doom. There we go. So now it's buffered. Let's play it now. Okay, fine. That's actually quite nice. It goes there. It goes there. Not cool.
I was gonna say that bang blue.
Ah, shit. All right, guys. So when you apply auto on it, what happens? Pitch does not change, right? But you start hearing the audio also degrading in terms of quality. It's quite nice though. It creates a very nice effect, and that's something you can also consider whether you want it resampled or under auto. You understand? Any questions?
Is that the only two you can use?
There are other functions, but they do the same thing. Yeah, all these other functions do the same thing. Because stretch will also do the same thing. You understand? You can just choose the one that works best for your audio. Yeah?
There's no way to bring back the quality of the audio once you stretch it under the auto function.
Wait now, bring it back how? As in like still have it stretched, still have it slow, but what you can do is cut it down to smaller pieces and stretch it according. You understand?
So you cut like small bits, but
So that requires less time stretching, but then you're gonna need to be very careful. You understand? Now that's where the problem really lies with it. The mere fact that there's only so much you can stretch without the degradation, right? But even if so, find ways to implement it within your production. You understand? The creative side. Because this slaps. I like it further than I did when I used resample. You understand? Because this sample created that, which is fine. You understand? But I like those sounds that are actually caused by the stretch. You understand? That makes it even much more aggressive and what. And you can take saturation, throw it on top, and bring those things up.
can't you then add another one and clone that one and make it auto, so they play both over the same?
But then you're not achieving anything except just making the same problem louder. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, it's like duplicating what you're talking about right now. Yeah, but you're making the problem louder. You're not still solving the problem. You get, which your question was standing from, does it solve the problem? Which it won't. You're just making the problem louder. Yeah, right. So that's just something to take into consideration, guys. It is quite a very nice factor to have in your production. In honest case, I have wondered when I heard songs like that being extremely slowed down. There was an artist I did a mix for, and I got a section like this, and it was the name of the song, and I'm like thinking, how the hell what's going on here? Until I figured out in actual fact that they slowed down the damn thing and then just include it as an audio there and stuff like that, and it becomes part of what you need to mix, basically. You understand? And you can mix it nicely. It's quite nice. But just make sure that everything is complete before you do the stretching. You understand? Because you're going to do the stretching and be happy and find that the mix is still not something that's satisfying you. Go back to the mix and repeat the same process again. You understand? Okay, cool. Then we move to a section called arrangements on page 182. Right? Now, literally here, guys, you'd think this is probably the most useless thing ever, but I'm starting to actually quite like it. Just going to include some couple of more things to play around with here. So and then I'm going to create a quick pattern. So, arrangement, guys, is more of so what it allows you to do. Let me paint this. Sorry, find paint. Do this for 8 bars. Do this for another 8 bars. 8 bars, and another 8 bars there. Right. So arrangement function basically allows you to build your song or the basic structure of the song from literally word go, right? But here's something to very much identify with this function is that you need to have your basic structure of your instrumental down, the idea basically. So mainly if you've noticed when you build a track, for some of us, especially on FL, you're going to have your clips, playlist, and your patterns. Sorry, nah? Your patterns are going to have the different instrumentals like this here, right? Your different instruments like this here. So let's say maybe I've got drum kit, I've got my bass, I've got my vocal, etc., or just a sample of my vocal, right? And so on. So this will be the basic structure, and I know that my hook will go like this. This will be my chorus section, right? So what I can do is quickly then come to arrangement and then rename that every week. Okay, rename that to chorus. Right? So now I've got this section here called chorus. It's my basic idea for a chorus. You need to understand that, right? That what this platform helps you to do is build the basic foundation quite fast. You understand? And you'll notice it. Basic foundation of your whole track. After you're done with that, you start deducting the things you don't need in certain sections and start adding the things that you need and working on the transitions quite quickly, right? Again, going back to what we've been discussing for the past, 5 weeks? How to make your creative workflow. Yes, thank you. Okay, cool. So now I come down and I'm going to go clone this, right? And I'm going to call this verse 1, right? In my verse 1, mind you there, I'm going to start deducting the things that I feel do not need to be there. I'd like that part to come in. Then I'm going to start this part, and that will be verse 1. So verse 1 is going to start like this, right? My chorus is going to be that, right? You notice what I'm doing? I'm just switching between places, right? That's my verse, and then that's my chorus. But then I'm going to quickly kind of build something quickly, then merge them. So I'm going to say verse 1. I want my verse 1 to merge, or let me say, go back to chorus again. I want my chorus to merge with my verse 1, right? And I'm going to go accept, right? So now what do I have? A combination of my verse 1 and chorus, right? And right, so now I can go there and go say rename, this is verse 1, or I can say rename or clone, but let's go to verse 1. That's verse 1, sorry. That is chorus. I mean, that is now my chorus because I named it wrong. It was my fault on my side, guys. The merge was not supposed to happen there. Let me see if I can undo the merge. There we go. Right. So I can take this, clone this first. That's what I was supposed to do, right? And then go verse 1 plus chorus. Hey, yeah. I don't know how, chorus, and then click enter, right? And then from there merge, yes. Then merge with, because this was my chorus, right? So I need to merge this with verse 1, yes. Except then I've got verse 1 plus chorus, right? Then now I can go back to my chorus, or even now, if I want to, I can go to verse 1, right? And go clone, right? And call that verse 2, right? On verse 2 now, I want that to function differently. So when it comes back, I want this to be there, and I want this to be there, and I don't want it to be there on the last. Huh?
The track 3 is the same as the top
Oh,
one.
yes. Thank you. Thank you. There we go. That helps. All right. Cool. Then I can do this, and this is how I want my verse 2 to be like, right? So verse 2 now is done. Then I'm going to go here as my idea. And because I've named it, I can clone this now. Right? Call this now verse 1 plus chorus.
Isn't this verse 2?
Hold up. I'm cloning this. Remember, I'm cloning verse 2 plus verse 2, right? Press enter, right? Once I'm done, come in there and say merge with, and then I can take it, merge it with chorus plus verse 1, and then I've got my verse 1, chorus, verse 2.
So unlike Cubase and Pro Tools, you don't have to put markers or add markers.
No, you still need to. That's really up to you. You understand? That helps for song structure. But this helps for building your basic idea. Because now I'm done. I'm up to verse 2. I add chorus on top, right? And add another verse if I want to. That's really up to me. Then afterwards, I've got the basic structure of my song all the way from here to the end. Now I can start adding bass lines if I want to. If not, huh? No, it's going to sound terrible, brah. Yeah, it's going to really sound terrible. Not bad. Really not bad. Oh my word, this guy. There you go, right? Whole bunch of noise. But in general case, because you had your idea structured, now I can start deducting. Maybe I don't want that there, right? Then this is good. Some more drums. I want that there. You understand? And then you start building your other sections in. Adding drums if you need to filter with drums. Adding crashes if you move from transition to the next point, You understand what I'm saying? So it helps for a very quick basic structure. So if someone says, okay, no, fine, can you structure your idea? Let's say maybe you're just the chorus going alone. Let's go back to chorus. Just the chorus going alone for the hook, and you presented this to the client. And it's like, can you quickly just construct a basic structure for my song? And let's have some couple of sections that we deduct. You can quickly do it with your client and let them go with the basic structure while you still continue working on your creative side, right? Adding to the instrumental. Are we togetherness? Right. Then.
One question.
Yes.
This has nothing to do with this. Can you make a track without using your channel rack? Like, can I just drag kicks and things in here?
No, eventually yes, without using a channel rack. Yes. But eventually you'll have to go back to your channel rack. Why? Because you're going to need to route to your mixer. You understand? Okay. So if I go back here, as much as I've got the loops and I've created that there, I still need to go back and put in the mixer. I see what you mean. You understand? But also and above, I say don't try challenge yourself that way, because it's nice and all, because you can add kicks over time, right? And structure it here. But imagine coming with the kick sound, and then for every kick sound, you literally have to construct from here. Bah, snare there, snare. You understand? It takes much more longer. You get what I'm saying? So you'll finish, literally, you'll probably be tediously tired by the time you finish your drum kit. You understand? Okay, cool. Then we're going to move to sampler. Now, I'm going to use a crash symbol to show you this. So let's go to my channel rack, and I'm going to go to all. I'm going to create just another pattern there, and I'm going to call that crash quite quickly. And then I'm going to go to here, drums, and let's find ourselves a crash symbol.
Oh, and I checked, I have the Silex.
The Slice plugin, yeah. You should. It's not. Yeah, it's not that difficult. Yeah, it's the one that comes standard, right? So, what the hell? Okay, there we go. So now we're talking about the sampler. What I need you guys to understand, when they say sampler, they're talking about this section of your plugin, right? Audio sampler. Here becomes a point where now you deal with envelope and instrument settings, right? And here you deal with other functions that allow you to either add delays, add effects a bit much more, filter, add some echo on top. You understand? Alter with the levels, whether it's modulation, panning, volume, etc. But today we're going to deal with the sampler section.
So what is fed mode? I saw something like fed mode.
Fed mode is a form of, I think it's a form of delay that's tangled in with a bit of modulation, if I'm not mistaken. I don't understand it fully. I haven't actually kind of learned about it myself. You understand? Yeah. But then there's ping pong mode, and then there's fed mode. I think it includes a bit of modulation in it, in terms of the delay itself. So just go take a sound, man, play it and tweak it, and you'll figure out what it does, nah? And stuff. Either that, or you can go look for it on Google. Yeah, whichever way works for you. Okay, so this is the Fruity sampler basically. Reason why they call it a sampler is because you can take sounds and manipulate them from here. You understand? A whole lot. We've discussed this before. I'm discussing this for the second time most probably. Right? Cool. So if you want, you can click here and basically pick different sounds that you want to load in. Right? For example, if I want E-kit symbol, I can go there and then click on open. Right? And I've got the E-kit symbol here producing a different sound. No, right? If I want to go back to the 909, let me show you. I'm going to go to a ride, right? Should have a different sound. You understand? So you can open different crash symbols from there, or different symbols, or different, or Yes. Or different samples, you understand? But another thing you can use this function for, right, is if you want to load a sound that's kind of closely related to what you found, right? Nice thing about it is after you've loaded a sound from here, maybe you don't know where you found your sound for, and that 6 days down the line from the day you started the instrumental, you can quickly go here and basically navigate where that sound is, because it will open where that sound is found. And all files or sounds, when you click them. Yeah, exactly. Yes, where the sound is saved. Meaning that now you can access all the other sounds. So it's a nice way to kind of find other sounds that are closely spaced or placed or associated with your sample pack. That's the main thing, right? So if you've got gazillions amount of sample packs, this will help you. You understand? In being able to find things that are in the same sample pack or the same folder, right? Okay, cool. Then you've got start offset, right? Me, in actual fact, I'm not expecting to see shocked faces today, because this is in a video I included last week on Sims. Mind you, last week on Sims, and I said go watch it. I've included it again this week. Go watch it. You understand? Believe you me, guys, like, if you don't do the stuff that I've requested on Sims, you're taking away that ability of learning as much as you can about the most simplest program that can create the greatest types of beats. And you're watching people create these beats, you're hearing them, and you're wondering how they did that. You understand what I'm saying? Your answers are in this test book and are in that Sims platform. Yes, your answers are in there. Like, literally, if you've ever wondered what they did to slow down a whole song, you learned that today. Yes. You understand? If you learned what they did to reverse a crash cymbal quite quickly, you're going to learn it, yes, today. You understand what I'm saying? All those questions you've had of the favorite thing from your favorite artist can get answered if you read through the test book. You understand? You can apply it on your production. And the nice thing about it, something I noticed, because this happened to me also when I was starting. You have an idea in your head, you understand? A very good, beautiful idea in your head, and you know it's going to sound good. But because you can't or you don't know on how to make it, you start making something that's outside the original idea. So yes, maybe rhythm is still the same, but in terms of the effects you want to use, the automation you need to apply, simply because you can't conjure on how to do it, you don't do it. You understand? Or simply because you can conjure how you do it, you find yourself spending 2 hours on something that could have taken 10 minutes. You understand? Go to an extent of literally going through what we are teaching you, because that's going to expand your mind. And that can even expand your creativity, because now you're not limited. So it's almost like if you do not know how to spin a car, you won't think about how you want to spin it. You understand? You'll think that it can spin, you'll know that, but you won't think on how you want to spin it, if you want to spin it left, right, or whatever. You understand? Until you know how to do it, then you can start thinking, okay, but then I can twitch it this way, I can twitch it this way, and I can make it stand on one tire. You understand? Because you know how to achieve it. Okay, cool. Going back to the supply again, this is a start, right? Start offset basically tells you if I play it now, it will start from playing from here all the way to here. If I play it here, it will play the whole wave. You understand? So where that line is where it starts playback when you trigger it, right? So if I take it further down there further, right? So from a crash cymbal, I created something of an open hat. You understand? With a sound that I found attractive, right? Cool. Then same thing with SMP start. Also applies the same thing, but this one stretches the thing, right? But does not apply any form of degradation on it, or you can still move the start offset again, right? In the case of if you don't want to move the beginning part, right, you can use the length part and move the length part away and then deal with the start offset the way you are, right? So now I'm limited to that. Now that's a different hat compared, but all created from one sound. You get my point here,
Good
right?
fun.
So guys, apart from that, dog, like, guys, let's go do these things on the test book, like for real, right? In and out basically applies to fade in, fade out, right? You can control your sound again, just like that. Let's hear how it brings. That's a bit much more open, right? Or I can slow it down there and bring it here. Let's hear that. You understand? Take it, record it on Edison, trim it, and apply it to your production. Stretch it if you want to. You've created something from scratch again. So, like, there are many possibilities from this. That's where every time I come in and teach here, I always notice that, you know what, there are freaking a whole lot of possibilities that can come from this if you just spend the time on it, right? Cool. Then you've got crossfade. Now, crossfade, guys, is a bit much more of a different case. So now that, like, it's almost like applying a fade at the beginning and the end. You understand? But now, when you apply a crossfade, it's usually a case of two sounds put together, isn't it? And then you apply the crossfade together to make them mix properly without the click happening in the middle where the waves meet up, right? That's the main function of a crossfade. But now you're wondering, what would that be doing in a sampler when I'm dealing with one sound, right? Notice this. One, I'll take it and I'll bring it to the notes here. Let me just find my C5. C5 is always hard to locate. Okay, cool. Now, you notice that I've got the crossfade on, right? Activated on my channel right here. Let me just close that browser for a little while. There we go. And then I want my rack and I want this. And I want you to come here and I want you to come here. So it makes it very much more easier. Okay, cool. So I've got my crossfade applied here, right? One thing to notice about crossfade is that now your note length comes into play. So pay attention to this note. I'm using one note. I'm going to stretch it. Hear how many times my crash cymbal plays. Oh, no, never mind. Crash cymbal plays. You notice that? Twice, right? So if I make it longer, I should hear it 3 times. Right? Crossfade, what does it do? What's the function of crossfade? When you've got two waves put together into one, and then you cross between, right? Without introducing the clicking sound because you've cut it halfway through. You understand? That's what crossfade can allow you to do. You understand? Things like this. So what happens when you apply crossfade in this case then is that it plays the whole file as its length and then plays it again if your note length is long enough, right? But because now if your note length is long enough means that I can control how much of the sound I hear. Meaning that if I make this shorter to play it once, it plays shorter than it would if I had no crossfade coming in. You understand? If I put crossfade and I make it shorter again, it gets shorter. So it's almost like an envelope, right? Without applying the whole decay effects on it, right? So let's notice if I go overboard with the crossfade, what happens, right? Then we're just going to play it once and let's hear. Still, just a crash. Make it longer. Right? Where could you use that? For a build up. Right? Or like a house track. Yeah. Like then continue repeating that, right? Let's take it, let's reverse it. You just go ham. You understand? Many ideas come from there. You understand? You are not limited. So those are just part of the functions. Other functions that are there, you do have remove DC offset, right? So DC offset is, it's a case of like you've got, on average, if I'm not mistaken in my understanding of it, is that you'll have like a middle line where your you'll have your amplitude up and your amplitude down, right? So it's the case of when there's a bit of liaising and it's supposed to be hitting here on the 0, but it's not actually in the middle. It's a bit offset from the DC. And then removing the DC offset will then bring it down to the middle. That's my understanding of it. That's my understanding of it, yeah. Okay, cool. And then we've got normalize. Normalize will make the sound kind of normal to how it was recorded, like the original sound, right? Then you've got reverse, which is what I showed you now. I'm just gonna change that crossfade so that we can have a reverse, and you can play it on reverse. So that's how you can create either open hi-hats or you can create reverse crashes, right? Reverse polarity will take the left, bring it to the right, right, bring it to the left. Fade stereo will take it, I think it fades from left to right. Let me see. Yes, fades from left to right, right? And then
Wasn't that right to left? I'm sure it would come from there to
that's, I would not know if it's left to right or right to left, but it does fade from one side to the next. Yeah, that's where it applies on my side. And then also, same thing. I think swap stereo swaps the stereo side of things and stuff, if I'm not mistaken. But I know that fade, yeah, swap left and right channels, and then what do you call this? Fade will fade it from one side to the next. You get. Then you get what we call here, what do they call this section? Effects target, right? Where you quickly get to apply effects on your sample. I mean, for example, if your kick, let's say you're using an 808, right? Your 808 is not loud enough, right? You can use things like boost, which kind of boosts it quite substantially. Yeah. So if you go high, you understand? Without actually clipping. So it's almost like adding some form of saturation on top, but saturation would add harmonics a bit much more, right? It deals with a bit of bring out some harmonics a bit, right?
Won't it click if you put it in saturation?
Not all the time. It depends on your sound and how much saturation you're applying. Yeah, and stuff. I generally do it on bass. If I feel like my bass is not cutting through enough and stuff, I'll add some saturation on the bass. But the wet dry knob is what's important there.
What?
Wet dry knob. How much saturation are you applying? How much is your dry audio and how much is that?
The middle one there, the saturation.
What?
In the envelope, if you want to add
No,
all.
not here. That you have to get a saturation plugin.
Oh,
Yeah, because it's a different form of algorithm in comparison.
okay.
You understand? So find you do find nice saturation plugins and stuff that you can use and stuff. Yeah. So do check them out. I'm not sure if Fruity does have some form of saturation plugin, but you can just Google it. Standard saturation plugin that comes with Fruity. Yeah. Right. So you can boost your sound a bit. Especially this works very well for strong kicks. If you're looking for a very strong kick, let's edit on the strong kick. Let's see what it does on the kick. I'm gonna have this. Just gonna mute that. I'm gonna do this for every 4. So I'm gonna go here. Right. Mind you, it's not actually clipping. Let's check it on the mixer. Hey, it's killing it. It is clipping it. It is clipping it quite a lot. So what I'll do is, let's see if I reduce it from here. There we go. Now it's not clipping. You get what I'm saying? But it's still quite strong and present.
And it's a standard key.
Yeah, you understand? So in comparison to if same volume level, remove the boost. You understand? I can lift it up a bit and bring it in, right? But that does kind of mess with the sound. Just know that. You understand? Okay, cool. And then you get also reverbs that you can implement. You just put that there. Bit of reverb there. Yeah. And you.
More dance vibe.
I think that's because of my sequence.
Yeah, no, but the sound of it, like
The sound of the kick. Yeah, the kick itself, yes, but not the reverb. The reverb can differ because you can use it in any genre, not just dance alone and stuff. So that's more reverb one you get. So it's more like a shorter version reverb. It's more of like a longer, bigger decay in comparison. Then delay, obviously, right? left, right, another form of delaying again. But what I want you guys to pay attention to is what it does to the audio. You understand? This literally changes the audio itself. So you're not sending it through, you understand? You're altering the audio itself. So when you decide to export this, you can create a whole new sound, manipulate it within the platform, and then export it and create a whole new sound for yourself. You understand? All of a sudden, this guy's drum samples are always bigger. Stems from things like this. You get what I'm saying? Okay. That is the sampler. I want to get now down to, the time stretching. Time stretching, I did touch up on the different modes that are there. The sample, the resample, which will change your pitch, and auto, which won't change your pitch, right? But you do get mule, right? Mule, let's play around with mule. Let me bring that up a bit, right? When I play around with mule a bit, you understand? Again, that's kind of like stretching the sound now, you understand? And then if I bring it down, it's compressing the sound, you understand? Without the literal stretch and compress, right? Pitch, we all know what it does. Pitch down, pitch up, right? If you combine the two, you can create a click out of that, or create something weird. You get what I'm saying? But these are platforms you can use in FL within just the sampler before you even go start time stretching and everything and manipulate your sound within the sampler itself. That's why then they call it a sampler. Then we'll continue and deal with the Wave Traveler. Now, guys, Wave Traveler, literally, this plugin can be dope, but its main usage is to create scratches. But I don't want to only say that's its main usage. I'd say that's its ultimate usage, right? But you can come up with much more weirder sounds or interesting sounds from it. Now, reason why I say you can do that is simply because it will depend on your sound source and the parameter tweaking that you use, right? For example, I'm going to take a loop. The other classes I used a vocal sample, but I use a loop in this case. And I'm going to go to my Wave Traveler. So let's go to my channel rack first. I'm going to add a plugin called Wave Traveler. There we go. This is Wave Traveler. Now you can load sound source by clicking and going and navigating to your sound source, right? If I wanted to load something that I need to navigate to, I'd go there. Or I can go to my browser quickly. Yes, drag and drop. Again. So let's go to my loops, because I want to use loops in this case. It will make things easier. Let's go. Here, right, in explaining. So now I need you guys to pay attention to what happens also here whenever I tweak here, right? So this is more of this, but now vertically. Vertically. So this is the horizontal version of this. This is the vertical version of this. You understand? So when I move now with my parameters, this is what helps me alter my sounds, right? First, these knobs here, left and right, is your start and end. You understand? That's end, that is start. That determines that if I press this note here, where do I start within my wave and where do I end within my wave, right? I'll play you guys the original of this wave so that as I go along and tweak it, you actually start noticing what it does. So let me just try and play. This is the original. Okay, doesn't sound like there's order in there, but okay, cool. Right, chap. So you guys heard that. That's my original, right? So now, if I want to start from here, then I can just put it in the start. Notice what's happening here. As I'm moving the start closer, I'm cutting out now certain thingamajigs. This again gets not stretched, but superimposed to the place that I'm concentrating, which is from here and here. So if I move the end, I'm exposing more of the end there, right? So as soon as I play it, as soon as I play it, it plays from that section, right? But what I want you guys to notice that happened by mistake now is that each of these notes here do not play, they call them octaves. This is the octave selector, but these are triggering nodes, right? So you remember last week we used slice X, right? Slice X where you basically had each marker that applied to each node, right? In this case, this is more of this platform here acts as like a preset trigger, right? So I can go make changes here, right? Then go to the next node, which is D, you understand? And make different changes there, right? Go to the next one again, make different changes there, you understand? So now when I'm sequencing on my piano roll, I can sequence from here and then have that and then have that. You understand? Then I can sequence those sounds or sequence the way I want them to apply to my instrumental. You understand? So it's more like you've got 8 octaves of presets. If you understand how many presets that is, it's quite substantial, right? Of doing whatever you want to do and just sequencing afterwards, right? So it does take some time to set up. Shoot. Okay, cool. So going back to C5 again, now we mess with the speed, right? Now you've got TA, which applies to how the speed reacts, right? T standing for tempo. Whenever you're on T, it's basically using your beats and bars, right? Your bars and beats, right? When you're on A, you're using absolute time. So your speed is referencing according to absolute time. You understand? So if I'm on T, then if I bring it this way, I make it faster, right? Notice if I go back here again, my speed is the same, right? Quite quickly. But that's the thing. It wasn't, the original was not even a drum and bass. You understand what I'm saying? But you could take it and apply it as drum and bass. Okay, cool. Right. So if I go now, again on T, I've made it faster and the tempo. If I bring it this side, on my right hand side, I've slowed it down. You understand? But now if I go to absolute, right, that changes. Now I'm slowing down because I'm using absolute time, minutes and seconds. You understand? Now I'm making it faster. You understand, right? Attack and release, which are these platforms here, are almost like fade in and fade out. You understand? So starting from there again, going back to A, I can put my attack slower. Much more attack, so take longer to get to the peak. It's almost like fade in, right? Release, same thing, fade out, type of approach, right? And then this is your oscillator, not oscillator, but your octave selector. So I get to shift between octave, right? This then becomes snap to grid again. For whenever I'm working, I can create grid lines. I'm just going to take that there, and I can work within grid lines if I want to, right? 16s, 12s, etc. That makes it precise in terms of my movements there, which is the next step now. Right, there comes now the next step, right? So under C now, I'm going to create a little effect. So I can right click, add some nodes there, right click on a node to create a different form of, what do you call this? Form of wave, for example. So if I click there, you can't see. Is it too dark?
It's too bright.
Oh, it's too bright. Hey, shoot, guys. Let me see if I can make the screen. Let's see. Brightness. Where do I go? Apart from the keyboard. Yeah, but then that's the thing. I've removed those things so that I can use my shortcuts. Let me see. Maybe if I go to keyboard and no. So I can deactivate those shortcuts and then I can do it quickly. Let's see. Maybe if I do it here, whether it will work. What is it? F?
Yeah, on top. Next 6K.
F14. Mine is on F14. Yep. I'm using a different keyboard. Yeah. Oh man. Where can I change my brightness though? Under here. Yeah, but then it's not gonna do it. Let's see. No. Okay. That sucks. Where is it, man? There should be a contrast somewhere here. here. So right. That might work.
Phase brightness at the bottom.
Are you seeing it? Oh yeah. Will that help though?
I don't think it's doing anything.
Let's see. Still can't see.
It's fine.
Okay, all right. But I'm just creating a wave anyway, so yeah. Okay, let's go back there. Okay, cool. Ooh, now I made it super bright. All right, cool.
I don't think it's doing anything. I think it's on that screen there.
That it does, no? Okay, but let's just go back into it. It's fine. So then under C5, I'm gonna start right-clicking, creating nodes, right-clicking again, creating some form of new different wave there, and then making that way, making that way, bringing that there, right-clicking here just to create another node. There we go. And I don't want that kind of node. Change that to half cosine, and then I can do that, right? And I can change this and have that. So now, when I play it on the section, this is what happens. You get what I'm saying, right? So then I can go and extend and add volume on top. So I went from here, wave, to here, volume. That now affects how this thing reacts over time. Again, create nodes quickly, volume nodes up, down. That's really up to you. And then when we play it now, with the volume affecting it. Whoa. That's like from the previous kick. That's from the previous kick. But you guys see what Wave Traveler does, right? So you can quickly create scratches with it, going etc., which is what they did in the project that they've handed into the book, right? Then lastly, I want to quickly discuss Edison, right? Hold on, guys, we're almost done, right? I'm going to quickly break through into Edison. So we get Edison out of the way. Once we get Edison out of the way, we can then jump into the assignment, me explaining the assignment. So I'm going to try to finish this before 2:15. Right, cool. So lastly, Edison, guys, quite very important to understand Edison. Now, usually, if you needed to record something on Cubase, right, from, let's say, you're taking it from a MIDI track, right, and you want to change MIDI into audio, but it needs to happen within Cubase, right? So you want to change MIDI into audio. Nah, you have to route the one channel, your audio channel, your MIDI channel, into your audio channel and press record, and that will record, right? I think some of you guys get a render also, render option. I'm not sure on Cubase if there is a render option to render whatever is in MIDI and render it into audio quite quickly. You understand? I know you can do it on Pro Tools, but you can also do it on FL, right? On two ways. First, Edison, right? So Edison allows you to record whatever is happening internally within FL. So now what's happening externally. You understand? So there's the normal recording that you can do, right, with your instrument, but with Edison, from outside that brings signal in. But with Edison, you record what's happening internally, right? So, for example, if I wanted to record this little chorus that we've got going on, for example, it's this one, that right? So if I wanted to record that, I can go to, for example, my mixer channel, right? And then head on, wow, mixer, you are large, man. Right, I can go to my mixer channel, go to my master, go in here and look for Edison, right there, right? Click on my record button and then press play. And stop it, and then I have my recording, right? From here on end, I can take it, tweak it if I want to, right? So let's break down some of the parameters. These are the tools that allow you to manipulate all this plugin, all the sounds here. Here, you can basically save, load, or export at different values your plugins, your sound that you have done here after you're done manipulating. Here, you can export it either in 16-bit or 32-bit float, or change the channel number from mono to stereo, right? Here, you can use tools to basically copy, cut, clear, and delete, or insert silence within spaces. Really up to you. You can also undo, right? Here are these tools that I've spoke about here, right? Exactly. These are tools that you can use to manipulate your audio, right? So after you've recorded your audio, just like a sample, just like sampler, you can manipulate your audio here by adding fades in, declicking, reversing, whatever you feel is the need. So try out the different parameters and options that you get there. Né? By creating selections like so, I can create a selection like that, right? If I want to zoom in, I can zoom in by scrolling in the waveform setting, or I can scroll here. Sorry guys, if I've zoomed in a lot, then I can scroll within my wave by going to the wave view and scroll by using my scroll button. I remember the days when mice did not have scroll buttons. Like this scroll thing was non-existent. Life was terrible, guys. Life was terrible. Floppy disks and all that stuff, where the maximum amount of thing you could carry was 128 megabytes.
Now you would have like.
At the time, you wouldn't have noticed.
You wouldn't. Yeah, you were happy. You were happy having a computer back then. Yeah, you were happy having a computer back then. And you load that floppy disk, you hear it load up as if like it's a gun. Oh, those terrible times, dude. The only thing you could freaking transport was a Word document. That's it. PDF was non-existent at that time, mind you.
Now if you need that, you're gonna have like 100.
Yeah.
One off of the song.
Yeah, dude. But anyway, before I digress. Okay, cool. So these are marker adders and regions. You can use this to add regions and markers that can help you, right, in terms of navigating into the sample, which is dope also. And then you get different views. Obviously, you get the spectrum view. If you don't want the spectrum view, you get the jewel view, with this combination of the spectrum and the jewel view. And the wave view. You can deselect them. That's up to you. And then you also get snap to grid. Now, snap to grid helps you basically snap to grid, or you can snap to regions depending on the markers that you created. Snap to samples. If you scroll in quite into detail, if I scroll into detail, you start noticing samples. So that means snapping into samples, you're moving according to samples. Right now, it should be snapped to pitch. Okay, so now if I'm on samples, it should be easy for me to move from sample to sample to sample. You understand what I'm saying? Then if I scroll out, then you get snap to 0 point or zero crossing. That's you basically snapping to every zero crossing that's happening here, right? So if I go here, snap to zero crossing, when I select here, shouldn't be a problem. And next time it's going to stop is at another zero crossing, which is then around here. That's a nice way to be able to cut out your audio without actually having those clicking sounds caused by you cutting within the middle of an audio. You understand? Then snap to pitch also then applies to the pitch of associated. I've not used this, so I can't really tell you how effective it is, but snapping to pitch should apply to every pitch shift. You understand? So that means it's very much frequency based. You understand? All right, cool. And then you get selector, different forms of ways of selecting. Then you get the zoom, right? And basically, that is today's lesson.